Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. We open on board the Polar Queen with Captain Lawton sailing towards Antarctica. Major McBride is on an expedition to rescue his missing friend after finding a message in a bottle containing his coordinates. It also spoke about dinosaurs and cavemen, so the Major has brought along Norfolk from the Natural History Museum because why not? They're joined by the photographer Lady Charlotte, who works for the newspaper funding this journey and gets treated like crap for being a woman. Hogan's here with McBride but follows around Charlie and everybody with a name except for the captain goes ashore when we arrive at the island. Caprona is encircled by frozen cliffs which look impossible to scale, so the Major pulls an amphibious biplane out of his back pocket. The four take off through the slushy ocean and fly for over 200 miles of 3,000-foot tall snowy mountains to penetrate this harsh mistress. Just as they see the lush green interior of the island, they get attacked by a pterodactyl because somebody came to the wrong prehistoric neighborhood. This thing rams the plane and pecks at the wing but eventually flies its dumb head into a propeller, killing both the engine and itself. McBride manages to make a controlled crash landing and everybody survives, but now they're grounded until the plane can be repaired. It's also stuck in a crater, so while the boys try to move it, Charlotte takes some pictures and spots a wild stegosaurus. To pay him back for his hospitality, she tells McBride she would like a photo of him looking his most pompous, and damned does he oblige. He gets startled by the dinosaur and everyone has a good laugh at the Major's expense, which seems to happen a lot with this doofus. They all then walk right beside the creature's butt mace, and I know it's a herbivore, but if it turns right they're dead. Charlie comes up with the ingenious idea to use the stegi as a winch, so they tie a rope to the tail and politely ask her to move.
The hell out of the way, goddammit!
However, it's too busy eating, so all of McBride's wasted bullets and John Wayne impressions can't move this thing. Once again, Charlie uses her brain to disturb the dinosaur's food, so it runs away and luckily doesn't tail whip her across this crater. The plane gets dragged far enough that Hogan can repair it from here, while Prince Valiant shows Charlotte his gratitude.
Just quit clowning around, understand?
It'll take about 3 days until we can fly again, so the rest of the team begins searching the surrounding area for the missing man. During this time, Hogan shoots dead multiple pterodactyls that come snooping near the crater and gets the plane fixed before the search party return. They walk around for hours before McBride says that his problem with Charlie is that a man's work should be done by a man. I'm not sure how manly photography needs to be, but they suddenly hear a woman screaming, so McBride grabs his gun and rushes to help. He finds a young cave woman stumbling out from the bushes onto her love pillows, who later introduces herself as Azure. But for now she isn't friendly and pulls a modern Bowie knife on McBride when a pair of stationary dinosaurs appear in the background. The Major opens fire but his bullets don't do anything, so he throws a smoke grenade and it looks like the dinosaurs choked to death because they can't run away. Now Azure is much friendlier and says she learned to speak English from the stranded man Tyler, though can't understand how his head is inside this paper. He's the one who gave her the knife that she holds backwards half the time and who probably told her that this outfit is more aerodynamic. That night the group learn that she comes from a tribe called the Galu, who Tyler introduced to Iron Age level farming. A tribe from the north who dress like samurai and ride Spanish horses called the Naga didn't like that, so they slaughtered all her people and took Tyler. There's a chance that he might still be alive since the Naga like to sacrifice their prisoners, so the next morning Azure leads the group north. As they're walking along, Caprona, played by the Canary Islands Charlotte, reveals her weakness is spiders and screams like a little girl. McBride has a good laugh since dinosaurs couldn't even crack her hard exterior, and the cave girl grabs it off, probably to eat. Soon they come across more of the Galu, who escaped from the Naga and are now being pursued by the Bolu. This more primitive tribe of cavemen slaughter all of Azure's friends before McBride has a chance to scare them away with his flare gun. The cave girl mourns the loss of some prehistoric dude named Mikey while the rest of the group walk ahead, but they get jumped by the Bolu. These tree-dwelling Neanderthals knock the three out, then tie them spread-eagled to the ground as a sacrifice to the dinosaurs. The second slowest creature on Caprona approaches its dinner, but Azure just walks up, cuts them free, and they walk off safe. Soon the Bolu returns, so Azure leads them into a cave where the locals refuse to follow because this place is home to a monstrous creature. Fortunately, it's the slowest thing on the island and Charlie doesn't even notice it's chasing her as they exit the other side completely unharmed. McBride lets off a flare to assert his dominance, but they're almost immediately surrounded by the Naga, so he won't be doing that again. The first samurai says they also learned English from Tyler and brings the tourists to their volcano headquarters. It's a temple where they worship the god of lava, and their portly leader sits on his throne all day with a hobbit on his shoulder named Bolam. Shabala is a large green toad of a man who dresses nothing like his men and inspects the prisoners, though doesn't speak any English. He has the men thrown in the dungeon and tells the women that they'll soon be brides of the volcano god, which just means chucked in against their will. They're dressed in red robes and as eyebrows chant some foreign gibberish, the girls get told by the Japanese guard that they'll be sacrificed at dawn. Meanwhile, Major and Norfolk find who they've been looking for as he punches through the styrofoam wall to connect the two cells. Tyler greets his old friend and the stranger from the museum but says that his girlfriend was sacrificed to the volcano. When the guards enter, for whatever reason Tyler hits them with the elemental fist of surprise and the three beat them all up. These inept warriors are revealed to look like Jason Voorhees beneath their masks, so the Frog King probably won his position in a beauty contest. Miss Caprona 1977 orders his executioner to behead Azure, but it'll take a while since he's holding the sword upside down. Our heroes burst through the door disguised as Naga, which I guess they used to get here from the cells, or they just thought it looked cool. Somehow these warriors who train every day with swords are no match for our misogynistic protagonist, a feeble prisoner and the portly curator. Toad Boy backpacks himself onto Azure and watches McBride swing into the executioner from the low-hanging cave chandelier of convenience. All of the guards are swashbuckled to death, leaving only Shabala the Hutt grinding his hostage backwards towards the lava. The corrupted hobbit brings him the executioner's sword, but the cave girl bites his balancing arm, causing Sabi to fall backwards into the volcano. A distraught Bolam jumps in after him, but the volcano god only likes beautiful women, so this whole place begins to erupt. With guards at the door, the only way to escape is to descend the interior of the volcano, but I'm not sure how Tyler knows this is here. They find a cave entrance and one Test Naga tries to follow, but he falls into the lava, so the rest are like nope and turn around. Crossing through the mountain, McBride and Charlie get separated from the group by whack-a-moling sock puppet snakes. They must be blind despite all of the convenient lighting in this cave, because Azure sneaks past them and is pretty hard to miss. One pops out for a closer look, getting them all riled up, so Charlie blinds the worms with her camera flash and they all make it through safely. This girl just keeps saving them and they exit a giant anthill before fleeing the castle as the mountain begins erupting around them. The whole army of Naga leave the castle, but I think they're just fleeing the volcano in the same direction because this god is about to blow. Our cardio-lacking group rest at the worst possible time as the mutated samurai begins surrounding their position. Tyler and McBride volunteer to hold them off, so Charlie produces a pistol from her camera bag and even spare magazines. Yep, she had this on her the whole time, and as Tyler shoots Naga, who own bows and arrows, they just continue to run straight at him. McBride grabs one of their spears and they kill like a dozen mutant samurai between them because the pilot is also trained in ancient polearms. Finally, the Naga think of using their bows, but their accuracy sucks, so one only hits Tyler when he's distracted saving McBride. With his final breath, he reiterates to the Major that the island isn't going to let them leave, then dies to provide the evidence. The last we see of the Naga is them trying to flee, but they get crushed under some explosive volcanic rocks. McBride regroups with the others, but on their way through the same cave as earlier, the spiky hippo is waiting for them. It's so slow that they could just run around this thing, but we decide to make a big deal out of it instead of just leaving. Norfolk even stands in the doorway with the girls waiting to leave while the chubby Saurus blocks McBride with its wide behind. It has the turning radius of a bus, and the cave girl breaks off a stalactite to use as a club, but nothing can penetrate its impervious hide. There's a moment where Azure is trapped with nowhere to go, but McBride walks up and says, "Look, take 2 steps to the side and you're fine." The only damage this armored heifer does is eating Norfolk's notes when a stalactite falls from the ceiling and impales him. Now the group leave the cave like they could have ages ago and continue their trek back to the airplane. They come across the Bolu tribe, but McBride is all out of flares, so he unloads Charlie's handgun until the island does the rest. It swallows them up in flames, and that's the last we see of any locals except for Azure, who must use magic to keep from popping out of her top. The group make it back to the plane, where the primitive woman has the most daunting experience of her life inside the mechanical pterodactyl. They barely get lift off but are still too heavy to clear the mountain, so instead of chucking out the native girl, we throw Charlie's camera instead. Not sure that really weighed much, but they make it back to the ship and put the plane down on the frozen water beside it. Once everyone is aboard, Hogan and Azure are acting like a couple out of nowhere, and he's already talking about bringing her back home with him. Just as surprising as McBride and Charlie flirting, despite this being the last thing he said to her on the island.
Otherwise, I'll kick your butt from here to the plane.
They celebrate with drinks, having failed to save Tyler and lost all of their evidence that the island was real. And the movie ends.